going to be
Los Leones is en route. The third game is en route. We'll go airborne, and we'll take this one to the skies in the beautiful Kiev Cybersports Arena. We're over prison, and we're on our way.
Here's the Na'Vi drop out pretty much straight away. Standard.
It's
Valid
actually a
demand.
rough plane.
Yeah.
Somewhat rough plane. I mean, you can reach Picardo, you can reach El Azahar. It's a long drop to Montenegro, it's a long drop to El Paso, San Martin. So it's very rough. So we might see some kills here in the beginning, just with cars and runaway, and maybe even punches. See if some of these teams decide to go somewhere else instead of the northern drops that they have.
And we had Na'Vi, Optic, and 17, as you were saying, Avenger, all fighting out in the southwest in that last game.
Yeah, look at Optic now. They've switched up their looting spot. They got pushed out. I think it was by MVP and El Pozo. They still went down the second game. At third game, they've switched it up. They
17 though, La Bandita, they're nowhere near where they were in the last game.
They're far away.
XQ are near them, and Genji are all hovering around there as well. Perseus and Esquire and game 3.
All right, welcome back, everyone, to game number 3. Thank you very much for that impeccable analysis, Matt Hayes and Avenger. Welcome back, though. My name is Phil Esquire Stewart, joined here by Mike Portosaurus Navarro. And Poro, what an exciting set of 2 games we've already seen played out. 3 more on the books for today, and let's get into it.
Yeah, let's not get too excited just yet. XQuest doing phenomenally well in the first 2 games, but lest we forget our history last in Season 1 of StarLadder, Day 1, Liquid came out destroying everybody and still ended up finishing that competition out of first place. So XQuest going to have to keep things alive and keep things going across these 20 games if they want to take home that first place.
Absolutely. They performed beautifully so far, but now is not the time to be complacent. And with this first circle popping off, we are going to be going all the way down to the southwestern part of Miramar. And Poro, this is such a far, far circle for some of these teams to have to work with. Specifically, our 3 teams that landed on the East Coast. That's going to be Secret, Gen G, as well as Ghost.
Absolutely crazy circle here in the far southwest part of the map. We saw pretty much a mirror image of the plane we saw last game, where this time it looks like the northeastern part of the map is going to get a little bit more love, as we see MVP still going to transition all the way up into El Pozo, but Optic, again, being pushed out of El Pozo, has now found themselves down towards the prison island. They're going to be feeling pretty good about things now that the circle's popped.
Yeah, not too bad that they got pushed out. I mean, like you said, it's working in their favor. They ended up going to Los Higos, which is one of the areas on Miramar where you never see teams drop. And I say never because it's almost never, Poro, but because it's such an extreme location, right? Extreme locations for drops on Miramar are very dangerous, very risky, unless you get lucky with the circle like we just saw Optic happen to do so. But with that around the map, let's sort of talk about these drop locations, where things are lining up. I mean, certainly Na'Vi going back to the Villa Del Mar area once again. It's worked well for them in terms of the looting phase, but now with this circle dropping dead center on top of them, I think they're going to have a bit of a better ability to rank up here in game number 3.
Yeah, and a lot of these teams are going to have to get their loot done very, very quickly, as they have long transitions to make here. And this is going to be this is an area of the map that we're not really used to seeing a lot of circles pop in competitive play. So maybe some of these teams might the transition routes that they're expecting to be clear may not be as clear as they're used to. So this is going to be interesting to see how these teams decide to play this. Usually, if you're in a position where you're seeing something that you're not familiar with, you're not comfortable with, you tend to see them rotate a little bit more late and play it a little bit more safe. So we'll have to see how it plays out as we go ahead. Right now, following Victory 5, as Laren is about to run right into Valley 8.
Yeah, and Valley 8 is nowhere nearby to his other 3 teammates. He needs to be extremely careful. We can see one of his teammates located off to the east, and he's going to be spraying down onto this member from Victory 5. Landon hops out of his car. He's going to be trying to return fire right now with whatever gun he's able to pick up, and he makes the connection. The beautiful headshot with the M416 onto Valley 8, and with no support nearby, that's going to be Optic losing 1 member early on here in game number 3.
And so close there for Valley 8, nearly just 1 bullet away. Unfortunately, he played the back end of the van. He took the 50-50 chance that was where the player was going to go. Unfortunately, it was not, and he ends up coming out on the losing end of that fight. So Optic, again, the struggle's just continuing for this squad, as they are now down to 3 players. They are in circle though, so
Yeah,
have
they
that
are
going
in
for 'em.
circle, so they do have that going for them. They're going to be able to loot at least a little bit longer and have a little bit more of an opportunity to get a safe compound, but now they have to adjust being one man down. Back over here to San Martin, though. Welcome to South Georgia. These guys could be welcome to San Martin. I feel like if they could change their name for either map, I mean, because this is where they love to drop. Clearly on Miramar, and it's been working for them. No team has really had difficulty in the looting phase. It really all comes down to transitions in the mid to late game is where we're seeing teams just drop like flies.
Yeah, and you can already see M19 hopping into the vehicles. They did not spend very long at all looting up in Los Leones. They, instead of their usual strategy of waiting a little bit longer, instead opting to get into that circle as soon as possible. Again, that's one thing that you can decide to do in a circle that you're not usually comfortable doing, is just trying to get into it as fast as possible so that you can find a home to call to kind of lock down early on and not have to worry about trying to get into it a little bit later.
Yeah, and it looks like Victory 5 was able to reunite with their teammate who took out Valiate from Optic, but now they've left him behind in that building directly down the hill as they are now beginning their own rotation, taking some shots from Team Divine. Back over here, though, to team number 17. One of our very strong teams, at least we saw them very strong presence in game number 1, sort of a mild presence in game number 2, but looking to change that here in game number 3. Shao, Shox, and the rest of the crew are going to be trying to rotate in, but more and more teams starting to get a little bit congested here inside of our southwestern first circle.
Yeah, everybody going for the center of this circle, as it makes sense. That's the high ground to have. There's a limited amount of compounds there. There's a limited amount of hills that provide you with great line of sights across everything around you, so teams wanting to get there as fast as possible.
Well, speaking of hills, Poro, one of the things to mention about this area in particular, it has hills unlike any other hills across Miramar. The hills on this southwestern circle, most of them, a majority of them, are extremely steep, wide open hills with no cover to work with whatsoever. So it's going to be interesting to see if that ends up coming into play for some of these squads and if they're going to be able to work with it or if it's going to work against them. But here we have M19 rolling through in the Morados, loud and proud is how they're going to be bombing into this circle. And also back around the map. Looks like Victory 5 has ended up being engaged on Navi, going to be rolling over the hill. Uba, he's got the M24. He's also got the Scar primed to put more damage out onto Shandian, who's bleeding out currently. Lanren trying to reunite with him, trying to get to this building, trying to provide some support, but he's so far away. And with Navi pushing up on this compound, I don't think they're going to be able to do it, Boro.
Really unfortunate for Victory 5 here. Shandian, that's another game that he has gone out early in, just a little bit too split off from his squad. And Navi pushing that as aggressively as they can, getting that kill. There's the finish right there for Uba. And now that is going to be Victory 5 playing with one man down yet again. As Divine going to take a few shots at XQuest here in transition. Nothing going to land just yet. So Jet just letting people know that he is willing to take that shot. Juxi just hanging out in the backyard. Not too concerned with Method making a run by. It looks like he might be a little bit...
I bet he's trying to get back in the game right now, Porto. That's what I think he's trying to do. Yeah, he certainly does. Divine, though, currently holding this split. I mean, they're going to be spraying down.
And that's XQuest going with 2 men down.
Exactly. Z9 Max and Cobra going to be going down right there. That is extremely important going on in the rest of game number 3, that XQuest is only going to be working with 2 members. We saw them win game number 1 with 2 members, but can they repeat it, Porto? This early in the game, it's going to be extremely difficult.
You hate to see it, and Navi still benefiting from a nice little split here. They're going to be able to get some shots into Method. Uba taking the long-range shots at Molman. Only a couple are going to land, but X-Chris is going to go down to Shade 1 here.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful shots from Navi. All Navi has to do is put out the damage, and they're going to find the connections. They're beautiful players. They have the skills, and this is going to be Vega popping off at Allogene, one of the newer players for Ghost right now. Yeah, he's subbing in. He's trying out. He's trying to do whatever he can here, but he's dropped down to about 50% HP, trying to get behind the rock, but runs right into the other member of Vega. Kemba 7 going to be spotting Allogene out and taking him down with the M416.
And that's a problem that Ghost has been having so far today. We talked to him a little bit earlier. While they are playing with Allergen, they were so happy that they were going to be they were transitioning with 4 members all together, and yet it seems they're having a lot of issues with getting caught out by one here early on in the early game here, and they're losing players a little bit earlier than they would like to. So now it looks like Balak is going to go back and rejoin the rest of his squad, but that is going to be 3 men now for Ghost as they proceed into this game. And it looks like the rest of our squads are now starting to finally make their way in. Knights taking some fire from 17. 17 actually going to pull off of that. It's a little bit long range. You can see Secret making their way in as well from that far northeast part of the map. And WGSG also making their way in. And Tainted Minds have found themselves a nice little home on the top of the hill. Get a lot of vision. A lot of shots can come from this. If they can get any vision on the teams around them. It looks like Victory 5 is the only one close by, though.
Yeah, Victory 5, LSN, and Little League just trying to do whatever they can up here in this compound. They got their teammates to sort of work with, but they're so dangerously close to Tainted Minds. Here comes Gen G, though. We saw them land on that eastern coast, Poro. They had quite a long transition to make, but they are doing just that, making their way in just fine on this highway, trying to go over to the west and get into this first circle. But I think for the time being, at least they're going to be okay. This circle doesn't really present any threats on the eastern side. Unless they continue on going, then they'll run directly into Ghost as well as Vega.
And you can see Optic now that they have lost a player. They are electing to go down to that prison island and play that for the time being. It should be safe right now. It looks like they are all by themselves there. Shouldn't be a problem until, or unless and until they have to transition off of it, at which point you got to worry about the bridges.
Yeah, the bridges and then crossing the river, coming up, yeah, the bridge rather, and then coming up on the riverbed. I mean, it's all very dangerous. The water, it doesn't work in favor for you at all anymore. It used to be almost a saving grace for teams in PUBG, but once it was fixed and water was made less viable, less of a strategy for teams to employ. I mean, it really does hurt you. The time that it takes to drown significantly shortened, and poor, we see the teams that go into the water now in competitive PUBG, they usually end up paying for it.
Yeah, it's not something that you see very often anymore, and for that, we thank you, PUBG, for making those changes.
Yes, we do.
So we don't have to see the mermaid show anymore. But Tainted Minds, you see now trying to prevent Knights from coming to take their spot. The new circle has popped, and it is going to go fairly center, almost exactly center of the current circle.
Yeah, not a bad circle for these guys to be working with. I mean, this is as expected. These guys have pretty much prepared themselves for that first circle centrality, and now with this second circle coming out, they're going to be looking just fine, at least for most of the teams. But Knights continue to pop off some shots, as well as take some shots from Tainted Minds, but they need to be worried about Victory 5 as well, directly over to the west of this position. Certainly, these compounds are going to be safe, but too close to one another for comfort.
Dadu, one of the last two remaining members here for X-Quest. He's going to try to take the shots to try to prevent people from coming onto his compound. The shots are going to go out. Nothing really going to land, but at least he's going to scare Divine off of his compound for now, and that was really all he wanted to do, as M19 has now taken residence in the compound just to the north, or actually just to the west, but on the hillside. But they have the rest of Victory 5 that is hearing this going on, and they are coming down to take a look.
Yeah, Victory 5, Landrin peeking over to the corner, going to be able to spot out one of the players. Bachelin going down and out. He's going to have the thirst, taking Bachelin fully out of the game, looking for any other members of M19 down there in this compound that he can, certainly feeding this information to his team, and Victory 5 is in a prime position to put a world of hurt onto that squad.
But now Team 17 has come in and from the north side, and they are going to be a third party onto this. So now Victory 5 pinched from both sides. They are going to turn all their attention towards the north here, where 17 is coming across the top of this hill.
Yeah, I mean, there were 3 teams in this area when we were just talking about, but now with the inclusion of Team 17, now 4 teams going to be vying for this very small hill, and they need to be careful. Grenades going to be coming out from Shocks, trying to find connections onto the members from Victory 5. Very close, but not able to succeed in what the intention was. Shao peeking over the ridge, just trying to get even more information for his team. PUBG is a game of information, Poro, and you have to be able to work off of it and feed it to your team.
Absolutely. Grenades coming out here. Going to bounce a little bit shy of Shocks here, as QMCC is going to be pushing this. Or no, actually, he's farther downhill. I'm sorry. My X-ray threw me off just a little bit, but it looks like Shocks and Shao are going to try to go for another angle here. You can see Team 17 completely spread across this ridge line. They want to be sure they can get any angle of fire that they could possibly get before actually pushing this. They need to get it down here, but it looks like they actually might be pulling off of this. But meanwhile, Tainted Minds, if you look at the mini-map coming down from the north side, they heard the shots. They're interested. They want to see if there's anything here to bite.
Yeah, exactly. Here comes our 4th team, Poro, trying to get their hands in the game, trying to maybe walk away with a kill or 2 or even more if they're able to do so. Genji, I mean, these guys love the blue. They're in the blue currently, but they're going to be spotting out Balak, making the transition right now in the Murado. The shots coming out left and right. Will they be able to find the ultimate connections that will knock Balak out of the vehicle? And it looks like for the time being, Balak, the bridge camping Simson able to blow up the vehicle, and that's going to be Balak from Ghost going down and out.
Oh, you hate to see that for Balak. You never expect there to be a blue camping bridge camp in the
And once you
that's
had all
insane.
those
That's
shots
just
coming
not
out.
something you ever see.
Yeah, and once all those shots came out, I mean, you didn't really expect a solo player, Simpson, to be on the bridge right there, but more action popping off around the map as Team 17 is going head-to-head with not one, but two different squads.
Yeah, the shots are coming out from Team 17. They have lost one in the process, but they have won the fight overall here, as they are now have complete claim over this compound as XQuest, the last two remaining members there just to the bottom of the hill. It looks like they're aware that there's a fight going on here, but they don't really want any of it. They're not pushing it as much as I think they're just looking for information here.
Yeah, I mean, I think as XQuest with 2 men alive right now with 15 teams still remaining, such a stacked lobby still alive, you just have to kind of play it back, play it passively, and just soak up information and then play off of that and avoid different engagements if at all possible. Certainly we know in PUBG there are situations that you can't avoid no matter what you do and no matter how hard you try. But around the map, we can see that Ghost is in the blue, trying to look back down south at the members of Genji, trying to make their own rotation. Now, they took out Balak just a minute ago on the bridge, but Ghost is now trying to get a little bit of revenge.
They knew exactly what was going to happen here. Genji were camping that lane. They got one. They knew that there was a pretty high likelihood that the rest of the members of Ghost were going to be camping that street. So instead of taking that road, they went a little bit farther to the south, breaking the sight lines, not allowing Ghost the revenge that they wanted. But XQuest now actually is pushing this as a two-man.
Didn't expect this to happen right now, but with the confidence behind Zhao Du and his teammate, certainly they have all of the power to do so. Connecting onto one of the members, QMCC of Team 17, almost immediately going to see if they can put out any more damage as Extreme 2G from Tainted Minds is lighting up the kill feed with connections onto 8C.
Look at it. They got the down, and they're coming now from a different angle. Zhao Du gets taken very, very low by Shox here. They're going to pull off of this. They don't want Team 17 to know what angle they're coming from. So they're breaking line of sight, they're rotating around and trying to come in as a duo, which is what you have to do when you're down to just two players.
Yep.
If one player gets knocked, the chances that player gets pushed and then finished off and then killed are very, very high. So, if you're going to play aggressive as a duo, as XQuest seems to want to do, although now they have pulled off of this fight completely, you want to play like that.
Exactly. I mean, one of the other advantages from making those rotations and getting different angles to peak on is the fact that you also let that other team know that you might have more than two players, which they actually had to work with. It sort of gives the impression that you have a full squad or maybe 3 men alive with all of that damage, all of those shots coming out from different angles. But with this, we're looking now at Welcome to South Georgia. Larson and the rest of his squad going to be holding in this valley, and he's looking right at these steep hills that we talked about in the early game of Miramar here for game number 3. I mean, it's wide open, and if Tainted Minds peeks over, they might be able to spot down onto Welcome to South George, but also on the contrary, South George might be able to look back up and get those easy shots.
Knights now on the very far north of this circle are going to go ahead and rotate in, but they're going to have a hard time finding any place to call home, really. They're going to have to find just a hilltop where they can work from. Don't want to go too deep into this circle, as now you can see Optic has made their way from this military island into Via de Mar, where they found a few homes to guard, as WTSG has stopped, and Knights actually taking shots from XQuest. Now, XQuest playing so aggressive as a duo. They don't have any kills to their name, but they are certainly not afraid of letting people know where they are by taking these shots.
Yeah, I mean, Poro, we're at 18 minutes into game number 3 here on Miramar, and we all know that around 20 minutes is the critical point for this map where chaos starts to erupt. All of these teams begin to find themselves engaging onto one team, maybe even more. The third-party action on Miramar is so strong. Genji, though, still locked down on the southern edge of things as Navi continues to put out damage left and right. It's going to be Uba coming up with a huge connection onto Gaxi.
Big shots coming out from Uba, managing to get the down and the kill. Securing that kill as Vard now trying to get some shots back, but he is not going to find him, as Shade is going to provide a little bit of cover for his squad mate. As we see, this next circle is starting to move in. We still have a few teams that are making their way in. This southern part here is about to get really, really interesting. As you can see, Optic and Vega are squaring off a little bit, but you have Genji that is still going to be making their way from the military island. You still have 2 remaining members of Ghost who are a little bit pressured. McCoy, you can see in the little side screen here, got pushed off by Genji. They are looking for this kill. But Simpson... Ooh, he gets taken so very low. But either way, this southern part of the circle is about to get extremely hectic, as we have no less than, I think, 4 teams currently in Via de Mar holding down different compounds. And then we have the rest of the boys from Gen G and Ghost that are going to have to be making their way up as Simpson has found his way into the water.
Yeah, I mean, McCoy just revolutionizing the PUBG made it with a little bit of cliff diving. And yeah, you got to love that Simpson followed in his steps right there. But back around the map, we got Raffi from Method up on top of this hill, just above Navi, just above Welcome to South George. But he's got to be careful. He's got 8s. He's still alive to work with, sort of bounce this information off of this duo. But that's not a lot for this squad to work with, I guess, given the fact that we have 4-man squads still alive. Very dominant forces here in this lobby still alive. But the main thing to take away, though, Poro, before we get too tied up into these leaderboards, is you only have to make it into the top 8 to advance into our final stage.
That is absolutely correct, as we now see our next circle pops, and of course it is going to go north. This is our 4th circle, which always favors land. So all of our teams now that are to the south, well, our 2 teams, Gen G and Ghost, are going to have to make their way in. And interestingly enough, Gen G, 4-man squad, electing to swim across, as Ghost McCoy is just going to go ahead. He found himself a little bit of land. He's just going to take these shots. It is possible that McCoy could pick up the entirety of Gen G here.
Yeah, I mean, he's already gotten 1 kill. Simpson's going to drown right now, trying to avoid the shots from McCoy. All he has to do is hit Loki. Loki's got to pop his head up to get some air soon. Chelador is going to be around the bend of this rocks. He's not going to be able to get the shots to line of sight. Loki is drowning right now. You can see the damage tick.
He's dead.
And he's going to be dropped.
Oh, McCoy gets it.
That's kill points. The critical moment right before Loki drops out. McCoy able to find the connection with the SKS. And regardless of what you have to say about McCoy's positioning, the fact that there are only 2 members of Ghost still alive, McCoy is racking up the kill points. He's not going to be leaving anything in his path.
You wanted to talk about vengeance. Gen G, blue camping Balak. They managed to get the kill onto the entirety of Gen G for McCoy here. So Ghost getting their revenge, as now everything is lighting up in Via Damar.
Absolutely. As Ghost, though, you can't let up yet. You still have to continue to push. The ultimate revenge would be being able to get that first place finish here in the game. But Divine, JJ Leo trying to do whatever he can to fend off this push from Knights. Able to find the quick connection onto Krema, drops him down and out. He's got the thirst for blood, exhibiting it right now. Voxic bleeding out outside this compound as well. But here comes Draydon in the building just next door, possibly outside of this building, trying to just creep around, maybe even stick a res onto his teammate.
Not sure where the rest of Divine is right now as far as this fight is concerned. They are still 4 alive, but nobody getting any shots onto Drayden right now, as Drayden is just holding down the outside of this compound, maybe hoping that he can get the res onto his fallen teammate. It looks like he should be able to. They are safe in those rocks, so that is going to be 2 up for Knights, at least for the remainder of this game. They are safe. Oh, look at 17. Team 17 is actually getting pushed right now. They are getting third party by Navi, but they have to worry about Victory 5 coming down the rocks.
Ooh, and what a tough position for these guys to be in. Shock's going to be looting up his teammate QMCC and him, just trying to hold this compound, get some information, but look at Uba's lines of sight onto this building and that beautiful crate that just happens to drop right in front of him.
XQuest also down to just 1 player right now with still 15 teams up. If they go out in 15th, that is going to be bad news bears for the team that has won 2 in a row, as Uba is taking these long-range shots at Tainted Minds. As you can see, Zhaodu, now the last remaining member of XQuest, but he's in a compound with JJ Leo, as JJ Leo gets it down onto Voxic. Actually, that's Check Shooter gets it down onto Voxic. So.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. JJ Leo was already expecting a push to come out from Knights, so he's going to be up there waiting for any enemy presence. Whether or not he knows that it's a totally different team, XQuest, Zhaodu, is sort of something that we're going to have to see, and whether or not we know it, I'm not even sure, Poro, but certainly it's going to be an interesting play out on the map right here. And Divine JJ Leo pops into this building. He spots out the member of XQuest, and XQuest goes down and out in 15th place. Our team that has been able to get first place in not 1, but 2 games so far, Poro, is going to be dropped very early on.
So we'll have to keep an eye on what the points do from here. Little Lee is going to get rezzed here. QMCC from Team 17 is not. So that is going to be Shocks all by himself for Team 17. Going to have to try to get as much placement points as he can. You can see Tainted Mind still alive, still 4 strong on the northeastern part of this circle, but they are engaged in a fight with WTSG, trying to gatekeep this squad from coming into their compound, coming into where they want to hold in this northern part of the circle.
Yep, absolutely. If you are Knights and you saw that in the kill feed, you know exactly what you need to do now. But with this circle shifting up north,
disgusting.
Oh, absolutely disgusting. I mean, Poro, you talked about it earlier in the game, how many teams were stacked on the southern edge of Valle de Mar, just north of the bridge from Los Higos. But all of these squads have to move up to the north, and it's going to be extremely chaotic.
Somehow the last remaining player of Gen G managed to make his way over, but meanwhile Ghost was finished off. They go out in 14th place. So Navi still holding down this high ground. As you see, Secret 4 strong trying to make their way out of Idemar as soon as they can, but they have to get through Vega here. That is a lot of open ground to cross across that street.
A lot of open ground for them to cross, indeed. But with Secret trying to move up, they have to also worry about Optic on the bridge over to the west, and then Navi up to the north. All of these teams in this area are just going to be finding one another in this movement, and whether or not they can land the shots, that is going to be the ultimate telltale as to who is going to make it out of this southern battle.
Not a lot of easy lines of sight, though, on these shots. So it's going to really depend on what Vega can actually get vision on as these guys are trying to make their way out of the main city. You can see Tainted Mind still holding down this upper part of the northern part of the circle here, but Victory 5 is pushing on him right now.
Victory 5 rolling around the side of this mountain, going to be able to find a quick connection onto Ben Chu. It's going to be Little Lee, but here comes the ultimate push from the remaining members of Victory 5, just trying to capitalize on this. Ben Chu going to be dropped as well, but Navi going to be third-partying some action up towards this direction. There goes Tainted Minds, going to be finished off by not the team that was pushing on them, but Welcome to South George finds Subslayer and Juxi and takes them down and out. Well, Tainted Minds, 12th place for game number 3.
So unfortunate for Tainted Minds. They had to move. They had to do something. But the second they move, they get pincered between Victory 5 and Welcome to South George and Method and Navi. You can see Divine Jet now going down as well as Chalater, the last remaining member up for Gen G, is trying to slowly make his way in.
Yeah, absolutely insane right there what Gen G is able to do. Even though they lost 3 members in that transition from Los Higos Island, they're still pushing strong with Chalater, trying to do whatever they can here in game number 3. But 8C and the rest of Method trying to fend off the push from Welcome to South George up the hill. But over here is Chalater from Gen G. Spotted out by Divine. Levi's and Nikki going to be putting out a World of Hurt and taking them down. But that is actually going to be MVP that steals away the kill from that Gen G player. So MVP is going to be racking up the points right here.
Optic has managed to make their way out of the city and onto the far western side of the circle. They are still 3 strong. Method and WTSG are still going back and forth here with, I believe, 8C and Raffi going back and forth with Larson and VAR. Miracu is down and most likely will not be rezzed as Victory 5 engaging in this from a long distance. Secret now actually getting in trouble here from MVP as well.
Yeah, MVP and Navi and Divine are all in positions to rain down Hellfire on top of Secret. We saw 17 dropped out. It's just going to be Check Shooter, Smitty, and Fiend trying to push on. It looks like Levi's was spotted out, and the beautiful shots from the Mini 14 will be finding their connections onto Levi's, just trying to hide behind the tree, but a part of his body was revealed, and Check Shooter takes full advantage of that. Fiend getting the other kill onto Divine Esports, onto JJ Leo with a beautiful frag grenade.
Secret has managed to make their way out. They still have 2 up, but they have a long way to go to get into this next circle, and they have an MVP in between them. Optic is holding down the western side. They are still in Method. WTSG, the last 2 remaining members of each team, also holding down this north side. Navi still feeling strong as 3 inside their compound, which is still in circle. Victory 5 have a long way to go, and Vega Squad has a long way to go as well.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And this is going to be Secret pushing right into MVP. Siege is going to be putting out some shots. It looks like the 2 members were able to find connections on the Smitty. Smitty going down and out for Secret right now and leaving just Fiend and Check Shooter to push on in game number 3. 8 teams remaining, 20 players alive, and we are almost 28 minutes into this game, Poro, and teams have been whittled down left and right.
Check Shooter doing everything he can to protect his teammate Fiend, who pushed in a little to try to get into that circle as fast as he could. But now Check Shooter in a bad spot as you can see Navi get the down and the kill onto Victory 5. So that's Victory 5 out and done and dusted as Vega is now coming in from the southeast. If Navi can get vision on these guys, it could be another squad wiped out by these guys, by this team with the high ground advantage.
Yeah, Navi's got 3 players alive, but 10 kills to their name. They are racking up the kill points here in this game, trying to add more to that as MVP just continues to tear apart Secret right now, able to find the connections on the Check Shooter. He goes down and out, leaving just Fiend on this hill to try to do whatever he can to probably rotate out of this position. He does not want to go up against this force that is just whittled through his squad.
There was nothing that Check Shooter could do. He was hidden behind a tree. He had the entirety of MVP scoping him out. The only thing he could do was draw attention away from his teammate who had already made it into circle. So Method now holding down still the north part of this circle. They have Welcome to South George just down the hill from them, but no lines of sight onto this. So they're just kind of trying to gain whatever information that they can. Secret Look at Fiend. He's all by himself, but he is not going down easily. Okay, he went down easily. But that's going to be it for Secret as they go out in 7th place. But MVP still 4 strong, still holding down that southern part of the circle as Optic has just got the entire western edge to themselves.
Yeah, I mean, Optic, they landed in that very interesting Los Higos position and were able to work through diversity through so many different squads to find this position, and it's working in favor for them right now. Vega trying to crawl out of the blue. Kemba's going to be bleeding out in the blue, so taking not one damage, or not one source of damage, but 2 sources of damage from the bleed out and the blue zone. Oof. It's going to be a world of hurt. Navi just continues to put down damage from up here on the hill, but losing Uba in that bit of engagement. They're going to have to try to get this res, but will it be safe with so many different eyes looking down on them?
Yeah, they were not. I don't think Vega Squadron was expecting the kick from that blue. As soon as it locked into place, it immediately took out Kippy the Slayer. And so that is going to be it for that squad as Navi should get the res here. They're going to remain 3 strong as MVP is going to try to rotate, try to find somewhere new to call home. Shade is not going to let him do that without getting shot at. We do have a couple of squad. Nobody in circle just yet. Optic has the western side still to themselves. They should have a nice little place that they can find. Meanwhile, Method having to make their way over the rocks. They're going to have to give up whatever cover they have so far worked for. And that is going to be it for Welcome to South George. I believe Navi finishes them off. Still 3 strong, and they're going to turn their attention on MVP now.
Yeah, I mean, these fights are just popping off left and right. Navi has been at the heart of almost every engagement here in the mid to late game. The frags, every grenade that these teams are able to throw are going to be landing near MVP right now. MVP going to be returning with a Molotov, just trying to take out some of the area that Navi has to work with. And actually, that wasn't a molly. That was actually the tracer from the grenade right there, landing near Shade, but not able to find the connection. Shade actually connects onto Raffi, but Raffi finds a connection onto Hypoc from Optic as well. So the third party's engagements are just everywhere. Numerous.
Really fortunate for Optic there because Raffi came up on Hypoc and they didn't even see him. But Navi Shade now going down. It's going to be 2 up for Navi as MVP and Navi are just blasting each other. Who's going to come out on top of this fight for the South? Uba ducking, dodging, weaving. 6 kills to his name, but not that many even. I don't even think he has 6 points of health here. As MVP, it looks like they're going to be able to get all their reses off.
Yeah, and I mean, surprisingly, Pokemolodoy was able to pick up Shade. Uba was able to get to safety and get the res off, or rather the meds off, so he's going to be looking fine, but Hetra trying to spot out these teams as well. And oh my gosh, if MVP crosses this road, Hetra is going to have free reign to put down the damage. Here comes Hypoc, going to be adding some damage of his own in, and a connection onto O-Tan of MVP. Optic's in a great position right here.
They have the high ground. They have the vision on everything going on below them, and that's going to be Pokemolodoy getting lit up by Alpaca, but is not going to get finished off as Shade and Pokemolodoy have very little health between either of them. Uba is going to try to give a little bit of protection to his squad, and it's actually going to be Bahawaka with the third party that's going to save Navi here.
Whew. What a play coming out from all of these teams. Hetra and Bahawaka continue to rain down damage. MVP going to be wiped out, leaving just 3 teams remaining, 6 players alive. It is a 2-player per team average right now, but we do see that Optic is working with 3 of those players left on the map. Navi trying to pick up the res onto Uba once again. Pokemolodoy has been quite the medic so far in this late game, but can they push on with these 3 teams?
Etsy, the solo player, just holding on for dear life to this placement position. He has the high ground. Nobody should be around him. Hypoc, Bahawaka, Hetror just trying to find some angle to work here. They know exactly where this squad is, but Uba going down to Hypoc. Great shots coming out as Pokemolodoy now the last remaining player up for Navi, and it is a 3v1v1. Optic looking really, really good to win this game.
Looking really good. Their elevated position going to give them beautiful lines of sight. They just need to sniff out Raffi, right, or AT, excuse me, the remaining member of Method, and then be careful about Pokemolodoy down there to the south. But for the time being, I mean, with 3 players alive versus 2 solo players, Optic looking primed to take away the chicken dinner here in game number 3, but they have to execute properly. Certainly, we've seen things go bad in these types of situations, but Optic, such a strong squad, I don't think they're going to let that happen.
Absolutely. You can see Atesy trying to make his way around here. Because it depends on who gets vision here first. It's going to be Atesy versus Pokemolodoy. Who's going to get the... Oh, it's going to be Pokemolodoy as Atesy gets distracted by the dead body. So it's now down to Pokemolodoy versus 3 members of Optic. Who's going to get vision here first? It's a weird circle to play.
Navi with 14 kills right now, just trying to push on, trying to pull off the 1v3 scenario against Optic to take away the first place finish. But even if they get second with that many kills, bro, they're going to be sitting very pretty right now. Damage coming out left and right,
himself.
and he kills himself to the blue zone, but that's a chicken dinner, a first place finish for Optic Gaming.
The boys from North America, this is a victory that this team needed to have. They have been playing so well lately, but they just have not been able to close games out. Now finally, even though they lost Valier very early, they managed to pull this one through with just 3 players up. 5 kills, not a very high kill count, but still a great closing, a great finishing of this game by Optic Gaming.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You can't take anything away from what Optic was able to achieve right here. They landed down in Los Egos. They had to travel through adversity to get to where they had to on that hill to win game number 3, but boy, did they do it, and they did it in fashion and style as well, and you know that Hetcher or Hypoc, Bahawak, and Valier are going to be extremely happy with what they're walking away with after game number